Hi, I'm Scott with Power Dekor. Today we're going to talk about a new product category at Home Depot, WSPC flooring, which is wood stone polycomposite flooring, basically waterproof engineered hardwood. It's composed of a stone polycomposite core, which is 100% waterproof. It has an attached IXPE foam pad, so you don't need to use an additional underlay with this product. You can install it directly over any firm and flat subfloor. I'll get to that in a moment. It has a 1.2 millimeter lamella of genuine hardwood on the surface. In this particular case, we're looking at the maple. It's humidity resistant. It's ideal for installation in the basement, in rooms you normally wouldn't put hardwood flooring because you're worried about humidity issues. It also has an anti-scratch coating, which is a great feature for families with young children and pets. The product is very easy to install. It's a click floating product, so it can be installed by, it's DIY friendly. It can be installed on a weekend or whatnot. On the subfloor, you just need to make sure that your subfloor is firm and flat. And when we say flat, we mean to be within 1/8 of an inch on 6 feet or 3/16 of an inch on 10 feet. Other than that, it installs like any other floating floor. You need to leave an expansion gap around the walls. Generally, the thickness of the flooring, you can either use pieces of this or there's shim kits you can buy at the Home Depot. Also, when you're installing, you need to stagger your end joints as usual with any other floor. We recommend 8 inches between the end joints. This isn't just an aesthetic element, it's for the stability of the floor. If it does do any expansion or contraction, it will move in tandem and equally rather than having weak spots in the floor. So other than that, this floor is pretty much a standard floating floor, with the exception of it being 100% waterproof. So let's look and see how easy it is to put this down. All right, so I've set out the starter row here. You notice I put some shims in to keep it off the wall. It's important to leave a space around any floating floor. I've also racked out some flooring here for the subsequent rows. You notice we're trying to keep our end joints spaced at least 8 inches apart. It's important for the floor integrity, and it's also aesthetically more pleasing to see it like that. So let's go ahead and start putting together some flooring. All right, so it locks in quite easily. You sometimes just skate it along the row. It'll help it seat in place. Get the end joints here just so they line up perfectly. And you can press them together. Sometimes you may need to coax it in with a little, you can hear the little snapping there. And now it's locked in place. Just continue on with that. Snapped in nicely, and so on and so forth. It's really that easy to put together. All right, so I've already racked out and installed the first couple of rows. I did that just so it wouldn't be swimming around while I was trying to do this video. And also you'll note that there's a pad that's on the ground. It's actually the quick prep. I had this down for another video, and it makes for a nice surface. You don't really need this, but I'm going on top of an existing hardwood, and for the demonstration so everyone could see the install, I decided to leave it here. This could be acceptable underneath this product because it's a firm, it doesn't compress at all. So what I'm going to show you here is how the pressed fit end joints work. And it's actually really quite easy. The way these lock together, and I'm using a small piece because I'm doing it with one hand and it makes it a lot easier. So basically that's locked in, and then we'll slide it down, and once it's in place, we just press it in place, and that's locked in. Now, doing this for a few hundred square feet will give you very sore thumbs. One of the things you can use is one of these little roller guys, and just roll the end joint to make sure it fits. When you rub your finger over it, you should feel no bump. There should be no change in thickness of the two planks. The other thing you can use is a rubber mallet. Never use a regular hammer. It needs to be a rubber mallet. And you can give it just a little light tap like that if it's not going together that easily, but you see, like right there, it goes together quite nicely. I've also laid out, as you'll see, racked out some flooring. It's important always to rack out a bit of flooring so you know what lengths you have, and so you have the proper end joint stagger like we discussed before. So a couple of things just to go over with SPC flooring. It's very rigid. It's part of what makes it waterproof. Because of the stone polycomposite composition, it's important to handle the product with care when you're bringing it into the home, handling it for installation, bringing it for cuts and whatnot. Try not to drop boxes because these corners can be damaged relatively easily if you drop an entire box. They're heavy boxes, so the weight falling and hitting the ground can cause some damage. So just be wary of that. Handle them gently as you bring them in. Once they're all clicked together, they're very solid and firm. But I just caution you against that because I've seen a few cases where this type of product being boxes tossed on the ground can sometimes lead to some damage, which is unfortunate. The other important thing to mention is when you're installing, if you decide, you know what, I don't like that board and I want to take it out, it's important when you're lifting out the boards where if this is locked into the next one over, don't just pull it up because you'll damage the profile that it's been press fit together. You'll actually have to lift the whole row and slide the board back out so that this doesn't get damaged as it disengages from the board next to it. Otherwise, it's those are really the two main things I would say are different. Also, because it's very precision milled, sometimes you need to get just the right angle. You'll feel it when it drops, when it's properly locked in place. If it's not going down, don't force it. Sometimes you need just to skate the boards back and forth, and that will help it fall into place. One of the questions I get quite a bit on this is how do you cut it and whatnot. You can use a standard miter saw, table saw, circular saw, even a jigsaw. I generally recommend using a finer blade so that you're leaving you won't get any burrs on the outside of your planks, so it leaves a nice clean cut. Otherwise, it's the one last thing I'll mention. Even though it's very stable for humidity, the expansion and contraction is minimal, we still recommend using T-transition moldings in the doorways just to allow each room to float independently, and to install up to counters and cabinets, islands, any fixed immovable object, so that you don't create pinch points in the floor if and when it ever has to move during its lifespan. So that's it. It's that easy to do. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and thanks.